ليس قولك من هذا بضائره العرب تعرف من أنكرت والعجم. He says, do you know who this is? This is a man that even the ground itself knows his footsteps. That Kaaba itself knows his name. The mountains and the rivers and the seas, they pay homage to this man. This is the great grandson of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is a man who is an exemplar in honesty, in dignity, respect, in generosity and sincerity. This is the grandson of Fatima herself. Because of his great-grandfather, Allah sealed prophethood. So you saying, I don't know who he is, that doesn't hurt him at all. Everyone else knows who he is. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran that a person, there are some people that, أَخَذَتُ الْعِزَّةُ بِالْإِثْمِ. That a person sometimes, their false sense of bravado, their false sense of pride, it will cause them to do a little bit, something that is uncalled for, uncouth. So what happens when Hisham ibn Abdul Malik, his pride is wounded, that all these people are now looking at him and not looking at him. They're looking at the individual who is the great-grandson of the Prophet ﷺ by the name of Zaynul Abidin, Ali ibn Hussein ibn Ali. This is the great-grandson of the Prophet ﷺ. He was a survivor of Karbala itself. That person. So everyone is giving deference to him and no one is looking at Hisham. So Hisham gets very upset. So what does he do to Farazdaq? He imprisons Farazdaq. Right? It's pretty much status quo when it comes to the royal families anyways, right? So he throws him in jail. So Farazdaq is sitting there in jail in a place between Makkah and Medina. He's probably thinking, like, how did I get myself into this situation? Zaynul Abidin, Ali ibn Hussein ibn Ali, hears about this, rahimahullah. And so he sends a gift. He sends a monetary gift to the jail where Farazdaq is being kept. He sends him a gift, and when he gets there, Farazdaq, he himself takes a letter and he writes a letter and he sends the gift back. And in the letter he says that I want you to know I did this only for one reason. I only did this in defense of the honor and dignity of the family of the Prophet ﷺ. I didn't do it for any material benefit. I don't care what I get from dunya. I did it to show my love and respect to you because you're a person who deserves that. And then when Zaynul Abidin gets this money back, he gets the letter, he writes a letter in return, and he says, okay, then you of all people should know the family of the Prophet doesn't accept returned gifts, so take it. And then in the letter he also writes, but remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows your sincerity in doing this action, and Allah will reward you way better than what I'm giving you today. Zaynul Abidin rahimahullah, the great-grandson of the Prophet ﷺ. Imagine, can you imagine? The great-grandson of the Prophet ﷺ, the grandson of Ali, the son of Hussein, the grandson of Fatima, survivor of Karbala. If there's anyone who has like a first-class ticket to Jannah, it's him. Anyone who's got the itinerary that, just skip the line of Day of Judgment, skip the questioning, just walk straight into Jannah, it would be Zaynul Abidin. And yet, when he passed away, at the age of 54, this is mentioned in Hilyatul Awliya, it's a book by Abu Nuaym al-Asfahani. He mentions that when he passed away, Zaynul Abidin rahimahullah, and they were doing ghusl of his body, they found on his back a bruise, a dark bruise on his back. And they wondered where this bruise come from. It looked like he was, seriously hurt. And so within a day or two, through investigation, they found out. The poor people of Medina, he lived in Medina, the poor people in Medina, they said, we had a mysterious benefactor. Every morning we would wake up, we had a bag of food waiting for us in the morning, outside of our doorstep. And they realized that as soon as he passed away, Zaynul Abidin rahimahullah, the food stopped coming. Every night Zaynul Abidin rahimahullah would wake up in the middle of the night. The whole of Medina is asleep and he is awake. And he would fill a sack full of food and he would throw it on his own back and he would go and deliver food to the poor and the needy when no one else was there. Why? Because he knew the words of his messenger, of his great-grandfather and his messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is what? The nobility of a Muslim is found in what? Getting up at night and showing obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Showing obedience to Allah, be it in salah, be it in charity, whatever it is. Imagine giving charity in the depths of the night. That's how you get nobility. That's how you become a person of fame and honor. And he said, and Nabi ﷺ said in the hadith as well, that your honor is found in your independence from what people have. Don't look at what other people have. And don't desire from what people have. And don't be dependent on other people. Be dependent on Allah. Allah will make you a person of honor. You look at the stories of the Sahaba, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows us through their stories how to gain honor.